We'll
Are you gonna take the roll down when we get started? Well, because we always have, Alan in there as a.
Okay, we're ready, 6 o'clock, and welcome to Toltec School District 22, Governing Board Meeting. November 12th, 2020. I now would like to everyone to stand up and do the pledge of allegiance. And Pam, I'm going to ask you to pledge allegiance again today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Silence. Ms. Rogers, would you lead us on our training?
As an adult and a treasure hunter, I am committed to search for all the talents, skills, and intelligence that exist in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success, no exceptions.
If you could, Ms. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers, could you please do the roll call?
Mark Lindgren,
Here.
Pamela Long,
Here.
Dennis Callahan,
Present.
Timothy Cason,
Here.
all present.
Now, we'll move on to D, the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All right. And we have Dennis Callahan who made a motion, and Timothy Casey, second in the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion passes. Okay, now we move on to consent agenda items. Approval.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second. All right. We again have Bill Callahan making a motion. Timothy Casey, second. And all approval of the consent agenda items? Say aye.
Aye.
All against? Passes. That means we move on down to the information discussion items. So we, first off, it's up to me. No, it's not. So I'm gonna walk around I'm walking around. Okay, I suppose that. I guess I have to.
Congratulations, Dennis.
Thank you.
Very good.
And here we go. Walk over here. And Dennis, I'm proud to be the one handing this to you, I really am, because you have been here and fought for this school forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Okay, so, and based on your attendance at the ASBA Activity Board of Directors of the Arizona School Board Association, hereby confers upon Dennis Callahan, Toltec SD, on June 30th, 2020, a Master of Boardsmanship.
Thank you,
So
sir.
here it is, and I can't give you anything. And here, and also, here is your letter.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
We have candy in our dishes if you want something.
Okay, I'll just make it around when I run out.
Okay.
And just to make it clear, I have been tested for COVID and antibodies, and I cannot give it to anyone, and nor can I get it.
You can ever get it again?
It would be like 98% probably not.
Good, yeah.
So, and then, just, I wanted to say thank you, everybody. I mean, I know I've been the subject of controversy a lot of times since I've been here, from the very beginning to the very end. So, not a whole lot's changed, but I just felt compelled to do what I felt was right for the community.
And we would absolutely cannot expect any less.
Good.
You know, you've kept it exciting.
There we go, thank you
There's,
very much.
there's definitely been a fervor around here, but I swear it's okay, Dennis. I
It
really.
wasn't bad the last 2 years, the first 2 years were the most.
They were rough years.
That's what that person was doing.
And you know, I got lucky because I came in after that. We all kind of got together. And it's a happy moment to be able to do something like that for you, especially you, I know you'll be leaving here soon, so that makes me very, very happy.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
You betcha. And then, information discussion, item D, superintendent's summary.
Middle school on November 25th and 26th for Thanksgiving, into the second quarter, and the first semester is December 17th. Our district website is finally the wheels are finally turning in the right direction on that. The bond that we presented to to Arizona and our area, the general election on November 3rd was unfortunately not approved. I just received the official count moments ago. And we were, the final was 42.22% yes and 57.78% no. So that's pretty close there. I think it's a shame that our Arizona city residents did not receive the informational ballot, the pamphlet, which I think would have made a difference.
That's why I was
That was very
pretty upset
disappointing.
about that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
And that pushed me. And Prop 208 kind of pushed that off to the side too, I think. They say if we're voting for one, we're not going to vote for another. You know what, I hope everyone understands.
And then our projected date to begin scenario 2, which is the hybrid, was Monday, October 26th, and Friday, October 23rd was a PD day. That means professional development, and generally speaking, for PD days, it's just certified staff, but we had a lot of classified staff here working because they were getting everything ready to go for Monday. But at 11:04 that morning, I received a report that our district was in a red score overall, had a red score. So the recommendations at that time were that school districts be in virtual scenario when receiving a red score. So in alignment with health services guidelines, I made the decision to remain in virtual learning until further notice. And we were able to notify parents in a timely manner. Everyone got busy, notifying. And then the following Tuesday, health services at the state level changed the parameters for the benchmarks, requiring red scores in all 3 categories to receive an overall red score. So the parameters were changed directly after that. Meals have continued to be made available for students at the schools and assigned bus stops.
All right. Now we move on to, obviously the business manager isn't here today.
No, but I'm gonna call him in case you have any questions, and then if you have questions.
Does anybody here have any questions to bug him? Because I think he's been, unless you have anything, family, I think all the rest of us are
We're
fine.
over there.
Okay.
Hi, I just called you in case you have questions.
And,
Tim's on isolation right now.
yeah, I know, and I didn't want to bother him because everybody's going through a little bit of problems. And I've looked it over, and I know everybody else here has too, so we seem to be all in good spirits about it. There's no issue with this at this time, so. The grants report, anybody have any issues with the grants report or any information that you wish to ask Mr.
I just have one question for you, Tim. With the, with everything being settled with the school resource officer, for lack of a better name, at both schools. So they'll start when we officially come back physically to school? No.
No, the school resource officers are already at the schools. We have had one that is out for some personal reasons, but they are already working and already planning on doing some instruction to the students virtually. That was allowed for by the state for us to go ahead and employ them even though the students are not on campus.
What are they doing?
They're walking campus and keeping track of things on campus, but they are also supposed to be doing some virtual learning with the students, whether that be through like a DARE program or some other program where they focus on one group of students and do some raw instruction to those students.
Sounds good. Thank you.
No problem.
Well, anybody else? No questions? Okay, thank you.
I'm sure Margaret keeps them busy.
Yep. Okay, with that, thank you, Tim. We appreciate your help.
All right, thank you. If you need anything else, call me.
You got it.
Thank you, Tim. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, well, that leads us on to the call to the public. Any call to the public?
None.
All right, well, then we'll just pass that up and we'll go to action items. And first action item is A, Pinal County IGA.
So this is the intergovernment agreement between Pinal County and our district for the Arizona City Elementary Resource Officer. And now it happens to be the resource officer who's been out for most of the school year. I guess he's barely been there for different reasons, but so he hasn't had a chance. I haven't even met him. Mrs. Ferguson has, but but this is the IGA. We won't necessarily receive the same from Eloy City. It's just the way that, they do this. So this is the IGA for our school resource officer basis.
Who prepared the agreement?
Pinal County.
Okay. Well, I guess we make a motion to approve the agreement.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Dennis Callahan and a second by Tim Vacason. All in favor of the Pinal County IGA? Say aye.
Aye.
Yes. Motion passes. We move on to the B, section of B, which is the Horizons Health and Wellness and ACES Memorandum of Understanding.
When Horizon Health and Wellness called me a couple of months ago, and I was very disappointed because they didn't understand we had 2 schools in our district. They were only willing to offer services to one of the schools, and that was Toltec. But we had on the phone call administration from ACES also because, they said they want to talk to the district about providing services. But they just reached back out a couple of days ago this week and said that those that are funding the grant are so pleased with the partnership and the way things are going in Toltec Elementary that they want to fund it further and include Arizona City Elementary. So this is the memorandum of understanding that includes our second school with receiving services for our students by Horizon Health and Wellness.
Is this where part of the services will include then sending counselors to school to meet with individual students?
Yes.
And is there an understanding in there that, not the K-5, but the junior high students, when they come to those, are they provided on their first visit the schedule for the students so that their visits don't interfere with core classes?
I'm sure that, they're handling that. I know that we do discuss that. I'm sure that's being handled at the school level. Right now, just having, a limited number of students on campus, I'm not really sure how they've been, I'm not sure if they've been doing a lot of things virtually or if students are coming in. I'm really not sure about the specifics, but we did hire a counselor. And so, but we do really need all of, I said, yes, thank you, because we need all the support that we can get for our students for their emotional and mental well-being, especially with this pandemic and everything that's happened. So this is just more support.
So this is available for the children now, even though they're.
It's available for the children now at Toltec, and now it'll become available at ACES. And just so that you know, the principal at Toltec said everything's going so well with Horizon that we'll offer, the ACEs, the counselor for 3 days out of the 4-day school week, because we have this other backup. Now, of course, we'll just have one backup for both, but I thought that was very generous of the principal, that they're very pleased with the services that have been provided for Toltec students.
Well, Horizon's been doing this a long time, they definitely know what they're doing.
Yes, true.
Well, it just, the first bottom, because I think it was just because they didn't understand that we had another school, which was ACEs, and so it kind of became pause with them. But other than that, they've been recognized as being very good also. So,
Now, I believe for children to be able to qualify, I believe they have to be, if they, access, they have to be under that umbrella that their family qualifies for access.
I think we have quite a few.
Yes.
So I'm sure
In our
there are
district,
quite a few that will fall under that umbrella.
Yes, that are eligible, yes.
So,
So what would the startup date be for ACES?
We will sign it and get it sent to them, and so they can start having some conversations on Monday with the administrators.
That's great.
that is good.
That being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve the MOU between Horizon Health and Wellness and the Arizona City Elementary School.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Tim Long, second by Dennis Callahan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion passes. We now move on to C, the 2021 GES Student City Council Constitution.
You have already approved ACES, and now Toltec has theirs before you for approval.
I would like to make a motion to approve the Toltec Elementary School Student Council Constitution.
I'd say.
All right, we have a motion by Pam Long, we have a second by Timothy Cason. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion passes. We move on to G, teacher resignation.
This teacher was hired, and the first day was July 29th to teach 4th grade at Arizona City Elementary School, and her last day was October 20th, and she resigned due to her mother's declining health, and she's apologizing for the circumstances and requesting that the $2,000 fee be waived.
Is her mom still in hospice? Has anyone kept in any contact with her? You see how?
I'm not aware of this. I was not able to meet this teacher that I know of. I did make my rounds at the school, probably if they were teaching, I didn't stop, The teachers that maybe would let me say hi to the kids, but if I didn't know them, I didn't. So I'm not sure. I apologize.
How does the $2,000 fee, do they physically have to pay the school $2,000 or $2,000 deducted from their final pay? How does it work?
Most of the time, they probably receive their final pay because most people have it by auto where it just goes direct.
So
directly
if
to
our
the-
paycheck is $250, that's all we get. We don't get the $2,000.
She's
No,
already
we would
left.
have to bill them.
They have to get an invoice. Because, she doesn't have a final paycheck coming, so it would have to be invoiced to her. And it's always been my understanding, if they're invoiced and they don't pay, that goes to ADE or something like that. Not real sure exactly, like if you don't, if it, messes with your certification or what, I don't really know too much about that.
I'm sorry, Sarah, I'm not sure.
Well, again, everybody knows my opinion on this. If we continue to do this, we just set a precedent that we just will take it out of the contract if we're not going to abide by it every time it comes up. It comes up a lot.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
seems to.
Especially lately with COVID.
Right.
I'm not I'm against what you're saying, yeah, I'm sympathetic to it.
But the contract is still the contract.
Right.
Um,
People seem to just be.
And she's already got her last paycheck, so
There really is
the
nothing.
little saying of there's, you can't get blood out of a turnip is what applies here.
And we just
I
had a
think
recent
maybe-
one, didn't we, that we
we
said
just- yeah,
no, and
so-
it wouldn't be fair to approve this.
Right, and not do the one before.
Right.
I think really what probably we really need to do is reevaluate this part of our contract and make it a little more viable, usable kind of thing, because to send them a bill is, I don't know, that's kind of like being the devil's advocate, but it's what's fair, it's what's right according to the contract. I think maybe really, I'm not gonna vote to approve it because we didn't approve the last one,
That's my,
but we need to really figure something out that's better than this.
right.
You know, it needs to be, what needs to be considered is this cannot, the last paycheck cannot be issued until this is resolved. Or something of that nature to where they'll think about it a little bit harder, because they already got their last paycheck.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that the school districts have to follow federal and state laws concerning your last paycheck,
Right.
because if you quit, you get your last paycheck unless you have equipment out on the next regular pay period. If you get fired, I believe districts have 48 or 72 hours to get your money to you.
Yeah,
But
this,
if we, again, instead of having a $2,000 fee in our contract, if we just had that got changed to being your final paycheck will be retained until the next board meeting for
Yeah, that would
consideration.
have to be something
That
to.
would be better word.
yeah, we will have to look at that.
Yeah, I think-
At this
I think
moment in
it
time,
probably
you
should
did
be-
bring it up
It
before.
should be changed because it just doesn't work. What we have doesn't, obviously doesn't work.
Well, it seems that all the people that are leaving they're not able to pay it anyway.
No, so I mean, it's a moot point, but we're, have we had this contract? And that, my big thing is it's a contract.
Right.
It is.
So let's fix the contract where it works,
No,
because
you're
this
right.
obviously doesn't work.
And that fee in there is pretty much standard for every teacher in the state of Arizona working for a public school.
It is, and we haven't had a problem until this year.
Yeah.
And, just years ago, we used to, as teachers, we used to get, our last paycheck was a actual paycheck. Even if you had direct deposit, it was an actual paycheck.
That was a live check.
And then it was a live check. And we had to have everything done and checked off
Before you,
before you could get it. But now, I would say over 90% of everybody has direct deposit.
Yeah.
And so there's no way for us to get a hold of that last check. We don't have a way of, intervening to get that last check, even for teacher checkouts.
then maybe we need to check with some other districts and see how they deal with this.
Exactly. I was gonna say that. So you took the
There's
words out
gotta
of
be,
my
there's
mouth.
gotta be a way that this works.
Something.
Something has,
But this year has just been one of those.
yeah, the whole year.
This is an off year. It's 2020.
Everything.
I'm gonna miss, I'm gonna go from 19 to 21.
Right.
And unless
20
21
didn't
is worse at this point, because this year has been a loss.
So, I'm gonna make a motion that we uphold the contract as it is printed, and, the district can do whatever they feel is viable after that, but I'm not gonna adjust the contract. So I'll make a motion, the contract stands, and leave it up to the district to make the best decision on what to do in regards to that. So whatever you decide, I'm okay with, but I'm not gonna vote to approve.
I second that, but it's our decision, so I second your motion to uphold the contract with the $2,000 included in it. Does that make sense to everybody?
No, understood. It's understood. I'll uphold the contract. She get the 2,000 fee is not to be waived. The contract is to be upheld. This is what you're both saying, correct?
Yes.
We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All against? Motion passes. We are going to move on to action item E, sick leave payout.
Mrs. Kilmer's retirement request was approved on July 15th, which was effective August 1st. I did attach, her retirement letter for your reference. But, on August 5th, her tenure with the district would have been 16 years. So she was, 5 days or 4 days short of that. Mrs. Kilmer was not planning on retiring. Her heart was broken at, retiring earlier. She just had some, health issues where, she wasn't able to continue. So, she had accumulated 32 days, sick days. And the policy for sick leave buyback, see, she wasn't able to utilize the retirement incentive program because she wasn't planning on retiring. So now we go to policy GCCA, and the sick leave buyback section, it states that upon leaving the district employment, an employee with at least 10 consecutive years of district service who gives notice of resignation or retirement prior to June 1st may be paid for every day of accumulated sick leave at 50% of the district's then current daily rate for day-to-day substitute teachers. And also another part of the sick leave buyback section states an employee who breaks the contract with the district will forfeit any right to buyback privileges. So I'm bringing this to you tonight because she doesn't fit either criteria. So if you approve her sick leave payout, that will be 32 days at $55, which is 50% of the daily substitute rate of pay. That'd be $1,760.
Well, my opinion is, okay, you requested your retirement July the 15th. It wasn't effective until August the 1st, and somewhere in there, an employee should have thought about all the consequences. And I'm just, I don't think we should pay it out because there was time to request it. Because the first day of school was not going to be till what, August 17th, or what was the first day of school?
Well, it was originally the first Monday.
Yeah, originally.
It originally was a September.
Yeah,
Pushed by
So,
the governor.
I just think that, when you're going to make a decision that's going to affect you from living somewhere where you've been a lot of years and been an excellent, excellent teacher. She was a teacher to some of my grandkids, wonderful teacher. But still yet, you do have to think to all the consequences of what you're doing and how that can impact you financially. And is there anything I've left off the checklist to make sure I do before I actually retire? That's my opinion.
I think we should pay her just for her long tenure and being an excellent teacher. That's my opinion. I'll keep it short and sweet.
Well, the policy does address that. If you're a long-term employee, you need to be aware of what you're doing. There's if you're a long-term employee, 10 years, 10 consecutive years, you have the benefit of it, but you do have to follow the rules. You do have to do it properly. And I know that this doesn't, it relates, but it doesn't. I've always felt this way. If we do it right here, that trickles down to the kids. We're the example. The leadership has to always do what is right if you want the people you're teaching to do what's right. And so we do it. This is policy. The policies are there. It's been explained to me by attorneys at the ASBA that the policies are written and considered very carefully to protect the district and everybody involved. If we don't follow policy, we forsake our protection in such a way. So I agree with Pam. I'd like to be able to say, Tim, say, yeah, you did a good job. You're here a long time. But we have these policies that apply to everybody.
All right. Anybody have anything? Again, I agree with what Tim was saying on the face of it. But under the auspices of the policy as it stands, I also agree that we go by policy.
So I'll make a motion that we follow school policy and decline the FICA.
I will second that.
We have a motion by Dennis Callahan and a second by Pam Long. All in favor, say aye. All against?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Tim. All right, we have, F, revised classified salary schedule, minimum wage increase.
We now know that the minimum wage will be increased to $12.15. And so our revised salary schedule reflects that increase. There will be 18 employees who will receive a 3 cents an hour increase. 4 employees will receive a 15-cent hour increase. And the cost to the district, and that begins January 1st to June 30th. And that's approximately $900. And then all of the other hourly employees will be, will move accordingly. Like they'll get their step and it'll be at the rate that's on the salary schedule with their new work agreement.
And then the only thing that we're actually agreeing to, or disagreeing or agreeing to, is that we follow the minimum wage increase.
Right.
That's all of it.
We have 22 employees that are on minimum wage.
I guess 18, yeah, I guess
18.4.
so. Better.
Is that paraprofessionals? What is that?
Well, they're hourly employees, so that would be a question for Tim. Do you want me to call it?
Yeah,
On the,
I want to know where these 22 employees are that are, because
well, they,
I'm sorry, we've been to this rodeo,
yeah. But they could be employees who just started this past year at the,
but
Yeah.
in fact, there's 22 of them. I mean, if there's 5,
Hi,
7.
we're on the classified salary schedule. And Dennis wants to know who these employees are that will be getting the increase. The employees
it's on the spreadsheet,
that are mostly making,
by position, not name.
right, by position. So,
There's 3.
are they mostly, where would these,
Who are these employees that are?
employees be working mostly? Paraprofessionals, food services, maintenance, custodial, where?
So most of them are coming from food services.
Yeah.
But you do have a few that are coming from in your salary schedule where it says school support services, the first block. So you have a couple that are in there without getting into specifics of who those individuals are because we can't really discuss that. But you can see that there are several areas where we're bumping it up and then staying at the minimum wage. So anywhere where there's 12.15 is where you'll be seeing that. So we do have some in custodial, some in food service, some in attendance health clerk positions. Those positions are where you're seeing the vast majority of those. that are in
Health services.
Okay, so every place where step 1 is 12.15 could be an area where an employee fell in.
Exactly, and most of them are in food service.
All right, okay. Thank you, Tim.
Okay.
Yep. Anything else?
No, that's it, thank you.
That's it, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, even though there's 22 total, there could be like
Yeah, 3
4
of
or
them.
5,
Right.
the same exact title, so.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm looking at that, yeah. And it's looking right there. It's
Yeah, because I counted there's only like 13, it's like, well, there's supposed to be 22, but then I thought, yeah, but there's gonna be 3 of these, 2 of those, and 1 of those.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, hey, 18 employees only gonna get a 3 cent, personally, that embarrasses me. When I saw a sign at In and Out, now hiring, beginning pay $14 an hour.
You should have seen my last raise, which was like was it 3, 4 years? Well, I was,
We
I'm
didn't get
sorry.
one this year.
I'm sergeant, so like 3, 4 years ago, I got a 3-cent raise. I hadn't had one for 5 years, and I haven't had one since then. So for about 8 years, I haven't got a raise.
3 cents.
We got 3 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Really,
embarrassing.
that's
I don't know if you remember,
embarrassing
Pam, but we had this
It
discussion
is
last
what
time.
it is.
It is.
The last time we had this discussion, I wanted to do something more than this, and we said we would get to these people. And
But
4 years we
it,
have, so anyway,
I
Make a motion.
remember it.
make a motion, we approve the classified salary schedule minimum wage increase.
And I will second that.
okay, that's gonna makes a motion, and Ms. Pam Long has seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Okay, G. Superintendent's part-time executive assistant hours. Mary, would you explain this to us?
When we did some reorganization, so we did away with the grant specialist position with our receptionist, district office receptionist with a grant specialist. We were spending about $53,290. Then we added some grant responsibilities to the receptionist and hired a part-time position to be my assistant and saved the district $6,490. Mrs. Ferguson is very quick to say she does not want to work full-time.
Go, Marta.
So, this is not asking that she be moved to full-time. This is asking that when we're in these,
If you need her.
Yes, because-
She can work.
I'm always saying, Narda, did you clock in, did you do this? And she volunteers a lot, so.
And it wouldn't even be a time and a half. It would just be the straight rate, so.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
good
we
with
just,
that.
we just don't need to exceed the minimum amount to where we have to, if we go over 32 hours, repeatedly, then we have to move you to full-time. If it's required,
Refuses.
so.
She refuses to go full-time.
So just keep it
Oh,
under,
she's
keep it under,
ready for Narda.
keep it under 32 hours on paper, that's all I'm saying.
You keep
25.
finding us- You keep finding us deals like those trucks out there.
Yeah.
You made us keep doing it.
Right, right.
That was a beauty.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
Yes. I would like to make the motion for the superintendent's executive assistant when there are times that she will need to work over 20 hours a week, that she be allowed to do so as long as she doesn't go over 32 hours.
Wow, that was a mouthful.
Okay,
Maybe- Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion by Pam Long, and we have a second by Timothy Case, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right,
All against?
Yeah, you couldn't vote on that one, Narda.
Thank you.
Next, we have H, the hybrid scenario date starting date. So,
Okay, so this is the difficult one. There's been so many hours, starting last week, that I have spent on reporting to the Pinal County, cases, exposures, shutting down classes, putting people on isolation and quarantine, and according to what the Pinal County directs. And I started on Monday having Mrs. Ferguson help me with a lot of those duties, and it is extremely time consuming. The main problem that we have right now is that we basically have, we were discussing Arizona City Elementary with Pinal County Health Services on a conference call this afternoon. But we have our administration, and we have our front office out at ACES, and we have our front office out at Toltec, except for the receptionist. But at ACES, because of the positives, they're looking at it as an outbreak, and there'll be some more continual investigations. But where two were positive, where they thought there was no connection. As of today, they think there might have been a connection, and so they want to look into that further. They explained to Nana and I that Casa Grande and Red Rock are hot spots right now, and that our entire county is in the red with this report that will be coming out tomorrow. And so our district remains in red as far as the number of cases. I'm not sure. COVID-like illness will remain green because that's the number of people who are tested at the hospitals. So in consult with Pinal County, I put before you a little blurb that they emailed. But is that we go on to the closing our schools until starting Monday, and not to reopen until the 19th of January. Now, the reason the 19th of January is that's the incubation period from the end of the holidays. And so this is what Casa Grande Elementary is going to do. And as far as what I was just explaining, that Red Rock just closed also. So we have, it would be really difficult to continue to have school, or it would be impossible to go into the hybrid because we don't have enough staff members. And basically, right at this point in time, everyone who works at ACES needs to be on a 14-day quarantine. And except for the food services department and custodial maintenance, because they don't spend time in the front office. So with the predicament that we're in, my recommended action is that we remain on, online, do not move into hybrid until January. Yes, the January 19th.
Well, you know, as much as I hate the kids not being able to come back in person, because I have seen that the kids' grades go down quite a bit when they're doing this, you know, the distance learning. But their safety, their family safety, their grandparents' safety is more important than that, because we can always try to catch up those grades after the holidays. The school that I work for shut down last week because of COVID, and too many staff members having COVID. And, you know, it's tough. It's really tough, because the parent called me today. Why are you guys shutting down and the high school isn't? Sir, that's a different school district. I don't have the answer to that, because the high school district hasn't done anything yet. So, you know, that being the case, you know, I gotta lean toward the safety of our community members and our kids and go for January the 19th.
Well, I'm looking at August. We don't have any staff at the schools, so I can't send kids back to school without staff. So I'm just running off of that one, to be honest with you. And so I'm going with, I'm gonna have to run with the 19th too, because if you don't have anybody there, you can't teach anybody.
Well, and we do know that, let's face it, irregardless if they tell us on TV not to have more than 10 people at a time at a holiday gathering, that's not gonna happen.
No,
You know, I have more than 10 people,
Right.
you know, I've got 8 grandkids,
Mhm.
and that doesn't count the parents. And we get together.
I'm not gonna rat on you.
Okay, appreciate that. So you go back to work, I'll see you at
We
the
had
workplace.
14 at Peter Piper my birthday.
Well, I'm not ratting on you either.
But, you know, and like I said, I know the grades are
My
suffering,
kids love it, grandkids love it.
but I really think that with our teaching staff, they can help them get caught up after the new year starts.
Well, as I met with the principals and vice principals, I they continue to meet, I said, and I'm good for a little bit, but there's some plans, at this point in time, the paraprofessionals have been trained to work with the students in small groups, and so they're looking at, doing some one-on-one, online, especially for those struggling students and our special education students with the paraprofessionals in addition to what the teachers are providing.
And that's an excellent point, I think, right there, that as long as they're trying to get something done with the kids who are having trouble in school. But I think we need to emphasize that a little bit more even, and see if we can get more done with that, because those kids that are falling behind, we know who they are, and we need to reach out to them to see if we can, there's more we can do.
Absolutely, that's my expectation, and I keep saying, we're extending to the staff grace because they're learning all these new things, and expect the same. I expect the staff to extend grace to the students and for them to work with them when they're struggling. We cannot control the home situation, and we have to help these kids.
I think what we need to do is, have school for 3 years, every day, and then on election years, we just won't have school.
Yeah, there you go, just cancel it. Good idea, Dennis.
You know, with you on that.
Either that or everybody, go to Greenlee County and go to school there.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to school in Grand County.
So,
So,
Where is that?
that's over
I don't know.
by the Indian Reservation where it's so bad.
Yeah, we'll go figure that one out.
It's worse there than any place else. They're all-
Duncan schools, Safford schools, Fifth and Rensselaer, all those schools are going.
All that being said, I would like to make a motion to approve a projected start date for the school, depending upon how things
But
go.
this is still only hybrid.
Well, yeah,
We're still not opening.
wait, no, but a projected hybrid start date of January the 19th, 2021.
I do want to say that they normally would shut a school down for 28 school days, and it kind of, I just counted the days a few minutes ago, and it kind of works out that way. Just
Anyway.
happens to work out.
Just kind of looks out. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. We have a motion by Ed Long, and we have a second by Timothy Casey. All in favor, please say by aye.
I
All against?
Aye.
Motion passes, but I agree with you. I would rather they go back to
I
school.
would rather they be here.
I honestly do. But we're past that now. Next meeting date.
I am, you guys are.
It looks like
Yeah,
the second
well,
Wednesday,
missed
is December
that.
9th.
Yes, the second
Second.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because that'll be Dennis and my last meeting.
Yeah.
No, we have to come on January
Oh.
to swear before, when they swear in the new board
Oh,
members on January, then we need to be here, all right?
You can come.
I don't think we get up here and sit.
Yeah, I think we still come here and sit down until they
First
swear in the
I
new,
don't know.
and then we can leave.
And then they're released. from-
You don't have to show up, but you're still on the
When they
bill.
say everybody that doesn't need to stay can leave,
You
that's.
can leave this.
That's exactly what you can
We
do.
don't say that anymore.
Yeah, I know, because nobody's been here for so long. But
I
yes,
do want to say that if you have it on a Wednesday, Mrs. Ferguson, are your classes going to be virtual, or would you be able to be here? No. She can't be here on Wednesday.
I teach confirmation class for St. Anthony's in Casa Grande for the high school students.
Okay, so let's just do Thursday then.
Doesn't
We don't
hurt.
want to miss Nora, I mean.
Oh,
we don't want to miss
thank
the
you.
life.
And you're right.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
And you
Thank
just
you.
spoke up before I did too. I said, Narda, it's normally on Thursday, and we could just move it if nobody has any problems.
No, I'm good.
December the 10th.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No, we appreciate that.
We want to see you talk your last big.
He just put it for, he just wants to see you. That's all. Okay.
We always see her.
Okay. Okay,
I'll make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
okay, I need a second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Dennis Collins, a second by Tim Keys, and all in favor, say
All
aye.
right.
Motion passed, right?
Sound like an auctioneer there for a minute.
I can't do that if I need to.